Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, here in Virginia for Portsmouth, thought we'd try out a new style, and we'll be doing a Heat Hawks preview for the final play-in game in the Eastern Conference. We just did it for the Mavs versus Grizzlies. Go check that out. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think of this matchup? And is there something that you're expecting? And who will win? So let's get right into it. I have this new look. It's just because I'm traveling and I'm sitting here in my Airbnb and I want to try it out. Let me hear your thoughts on this layout. Comment, like, subscribe. Let's get right into it. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. We're going to start with the Hawks just because I think they're an easier team to break down as we kind of know what to expect from them. Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Rissache, Moge, and Onyeka Okongwu round out that starting lineup. Karis LeVert's their sixth man. Terrence Mann is kind of like their Swiss Army knife defender. George Niang, floor spacer. Vit Krejci is this toolsy Swiss Army knife that is a multi-positional defender for them. And then they have Dom Barlow, and I realize I put him twice. But either way, he's someone that I think this team, when we look at the Hawks have a fast pace, high possession style of play. And they're going to want to play their explosive offense. So for me, if the Hawks are going to win this game, they're going to have to hit 40% from three at least, force probably over 12, maybe even over 15 turnovers, and make the Heat have a sloppy game. Like, if they force a shootout, they're going to win. So for me, when you see the Heat, who have a bottom 10 defense in both points per game and field goal percentage, dead last in blocks, 30th, and a low overall shot volume, their offense stagnates. And that's something that has been evident. Yes, they have Tyler Hero and Andrew Wiggins in this game, so they do have shot creators in, available. And the big problem since the Jimmy Butler trade was the health. They didn't regularly have guys who were going to be healthy. So Trae Young is a bona fide 25-point per game scorer. You got a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Dyson Daniels. Zachary Rissache has been hot as of late. Mo Gay, I think, is somebody people need to take more or pay more attention to, as he's been fantastic. And Onyeka Okongwu's drawing. Onyeka versus Bam is going to be fun because Onyeka was called the next Bam. And let's break down what the Hawks are good at. Got cotton mouth here, guys. They're a top tier offense, fifth in points per game, second in assists. They actually are an aggressive defense, even though they're not an elite defense and they're trending towards bottom half of the league. They do have a high steal and block rate, and they're pesky. They're improving. Quin Snyder's a good coach too. They're a solid rebounding unit. Everybody grabs them, and they can overwhelm teams with their fast pace and the ability to go on scoring runs at any moment. Now, they have the second worst defense in the NBA. They're 27th in opponent points per game. They have a high turnover rate, which fourth in turnover rate. And their subpar defensive field goal percentage and three-point percentage allowed is something to worry about. But as we mentioned earlier, the Heat don't really take a lot of threes, and they don't take a lot of shots to begin with. So that's, if you're the Hawks, you're looking on to capitalize right there on that. So that's something I find probably the most interesting right there is, we can probably take advantage of the fact that they're not a good shooting team or volume-wise, so let's overwhelm them with our volume. And I think that's something to definitely consider. So let's go over and talk about the Miami Heat, who I think the Heat, very interesting squad. And as someone who, shout out Heat organization, they've credentialed me. Been since All-Star game. I went to most home games, except, as I told you guys, traveling for the pre-draft because I do all the scouting there at Hoops Hype. And this is a team that now, they run Tyler Hero, Alec Burks, Andrew Wiggins, Kel'el Ware, and Bam Adebayo as their starting lineup in the last play-in game. Davion Mitchell comes in really early, and he's been fantastic, a pit bull, point of attack guy. Then they have a Swiss Army knife in Kyle Anderson. Duncan Robinson helps space the floor. And Pelle Larsson, I realized I copy and pasted Duncan's thing and just threw it right there for Pelle. A couple mistakes on here on my part. And Jaime Jaquez is another, like, back of the bench. Those two guys, it's only if they need some energy, they throw in Pelle, and Jaime is they need some shot creation if everybody else is sucking. Duncan, they're going to shoot when he's in. Kyle Anderson can play the 3, the 4, the 5. More lately, he's been playing the 5 and the 4 for them. And what do I see here? The Heat are the number 1 defense in opponents' points per game. You don't score on them. They're good at stopping teams from being able to score. And they force teams into this slow pace, physical game, taking teams out of their comfort zone and making them have to win in the Heat environment. And it's a low turnover affair. Like, they're an efficient 3-point shooting and, free throw percentage team. They're a smart playoff experience squad. And with the Heat, the biggest thing for me that I have to point out is that they're bottom 10 in offense, both points per game and field goal percentage. They're dead last in blocks, low overall shot volume. And we talked about it. If Hero and Wiggins aren't having a good night, and if Bam isn't hitting his shots, it can really stagnate their offense and stall. The Heat want to slow it down and win the half court, force the Hawks to play their methodical offense, like have to defend the methodical offensive style that Erik Spoelstra wants to play, while they'll suffocate them on defense. So if the Heat are going to win, they'll be able to neutralize Atlanta's tempo with half-court traps and elite transition defense. They'll be able to make fewer mistakes in terms of turnovers and fouls, and have better late-game execution. And that's all things that I think that need to be considered when we look at this squad. And I'll put up the matchup right here, as they're a pretty evenly matched team. I think the experience and the discipline will more than likely outweigh the chaotic and raw offense that makes the Hawks so unpredictably dangerous. Because some nights they'll boom, but some nights they bust. While the Heat, even though it might not be pretty, they can grind out a win if it needs to be done. And I think when you look at the Heat squad, I think they'll be able to do that. And I think the Hawks know that this year was a great year to start with. And I think they know that now, going into this offseason, they should make a move to help Jalen Johnson and Trae Young and Dyson Daniels and Onyeka Okongwu by becoming an even better team, and use the draft pick that they have to improve in that factor. But yeah, I think this one's straightforward. No offense to the Hawks Nation. Love you guys. I'm not saying you guys are going to lose this 100%, but I would put 60% probability that the Heat will win. So that's it from me, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. Hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.